He is a god of the game.
Transfer madness is finally over. Who are the winners and who are the losers? Have Arsenal finally found answers to their defensive woes? Who took the best bargain out of Barcelona's garage sale? Is this the weakest Juventus team in a long time? And have Bayern moved on to Leipzig to fill their squad? In cricket, we discuss India's incapable middle order and bizarre selection choices. Also, we discuss Indian athletes' impressive show in Paralympics 2020. Let's go.
Absolutely world class.
Here we go. Welcome to our transfer special podcast where Ishan and I basically going to pat ourselves for predicting how crazy this window is going to be. So, hi Ishan, what's up?
Hi Bala. Oh man, I'm actually glad it's over.
Yeah, before getting into the transfer deadline craziness, let's quickly address Cristiano Ronaldo's officially becoming all-time highest goal scorer in men's international football. We need to mention that because there are a lot of people saying that no, it's Christine Sinclair. We understand Christine Sinclair has scored a lot of goals, but yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo 2 goals. My God.
And he scored 2 goals and actually missed a penalty as well. He missed a penalty, but slapped a defender, an Irish defender. But he's still winning again. And this was what we were discussing in our last podcast, right? That Ronaldo, however much he ages, he will always be Mr. Clutch. Scoring in the 95th minute for Portugal, winning them the game. Meaning, he's done it so many times for Portugal, for his clubs. It's just unbelievable. And congratulations to him. What a player. Now officially number 1. Guinness Book of World Record, by the way, tagged him on a tweet. So he's now officially a record holder there. So unbelievable. What a career.
Yeah, this is the goals he scored against Ireland in a World Cup qualifier. So just to apprise you guys, like the World Cup qualifiers are going on right now and it just started. This is for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. I mean, we'll talk about this when we have some important games going on. I mean, France played a game yesterday and Netherlands played a game. So that's going on. We'll talk about that later. Now, since we have put this aside, since we have given the accolades that Cristiano Ronaldo deserves, we'll talk about the crazy transfer window and we'll start from the league where they spend 1.1 billion pounds in total, which is actually about 11% less than the last window. Last window they spent about 1.3 billion. So, which is incredible. I mean, Arsenal turning out to be the highest net spenders. I mean, I should say net spend. I need to put that word very clearly. They spend about 131.8 million pounds net. On the transfer deadline day, they signed another centre back or right back. I think he has paid both centre back and right back.
Centre back for Bologna.
Let me get this correct. Takahiro Tomoyasu. I hope I got this right. So, I mean, I have to agree that I haven't seen him much. But what I have heard is he's a pretty good defender. He's one of those physical defenders, good in the air. So he did well against Ronaldo and Lukaku apparently in the league last season. But I'm not very sure how is he going to do for Arsenal.
When Bala says he's not seen much of him, Bala means he's not seen him at all. But you know, it's another one of those signings with Arsenal have come up with which nobody has an idea of what the logic is behind this. Yes, they needed a central defender since their main defenders, both Gabriel and who's the other one? Who's the other central defender? They're the main
Rob Holding.
Yeah, but Gabriel primarily is injured, so they needed a backup to that, and Mari, who started his Arsenal career in horrendous fashion. So they obviously needed backup, but I didn't expect this. Like, come on. Hey, this is probably Arsenal's level, right? They're buying from Bologna.
Yeah, but like, see, this is a transfer window where we had Messi, Ronaldo, Lukaku, Griezmann. I mean, we'll come to Griezmann and Messi when we cover La Liga and Liga. But Chelsea, even after spending about 100 million, close to 100 million for Lukaku, their net spend is 3.1 million pounds. That's their net spend. They are incredible.
I I really think they're one of the most well managed clubs in Europe right now in terms of how they manage their finances, the way they buy, the way they sell. Mostly the players they're selling, they're going at really good values as well. And obviously, their loaning strategy, which all of us find is crazy. They can create 700 teams out of their loans. But it somehow works. It comes back and they win. They keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, the kudos, all the praise should all go to their technical team headed by Marina Granovsky. I mean, she's amazing. She's been doing an amazing job. She was able to sell Hazard for 130 million, Tammy Abraham for 40 odd million to Roma, Fikayo Tomori about 30 odd million to Milan. Like, I mean, this is incredible from Chelsea. To me, they are clearly the winner of this transfer window, at least amongst EPL club. To me, they are the winners, and they were able to secure the loan signing of yet another midfielder, adding to their never-ending list of midfielders, Saul Niguez, who's going to be a great value add. I mean, you already have Kante, you already have Jorginho, Kovacic. Now adding to that yet another player who's going to bring in something different, who's going to bring something different that the other three does not have. Where do you see fitting? I mean, Kante, Jorginho, Saul all playing together?
I think Saul Niguez is probably going to be one of the signings of the season, and I'll tell you why. Saul Niguez was proven at Atletico Madrid was probably the only Spanish player who played the Premier League style. He had it all. He used to be hard hitting. He used to score great goals. He was a provider. He used to do it all, a lot of running. But what actually Chelsea can benefit from him is his versatility. Like in the last season and in a couple of games this season, in the preseason, he was playing left back.
Yeah.
For Simeone. He hated that. That's one of the reasons why he wanted to move. But this is the the value add Saul Niguez can give. He can actually replace Kante. Kante, for example, a Kante Jorginho midfield is an amazing midfield. So he can give Jorginho, for example, a break. He can actually play a number 10 role as well. If Mason Mount needs a break, he can play number 10. He can be a provider. So I think it's probably one of the best underplayed signings of this transfer window, because Saul Niguez was the talk of the town 2-3 years ago. He was one of the hot properties in midfield in Europe. Last 2 seasons, he's had a bit of a lull. So I think this can boost his star value, because he's definitely a superstar.
Yeah, the another English club which actually did extremely well in the transfer window, I mean, we talked about that club a lot, which is Manchester United. They made 3 marquee signings, I would say: Sancho, Varane, and obviously the Cristiano Ronaldo effect also. But I still think they should have gone for Saul Niguez, or someone like Saul Niguez would have gone a little hard on him, because that's where they need a player. Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm not sure whether it's a needed signing in terms of on-field sporting merit. Yes, it was an obvious signing for all the other reasons, but from on-field sporting merit, they should have gone hard on a midfielder.
I completely agree, because United are playing the Champions League this season, so all in all, they're going to be playing for 4 trophies. Yeah. They're very thinly spread across in the midfield, right? You have Fred, McTominay, Matic, and Pogba. Mata, though, I don't know if he's still a player. He's more of a supporting staff. Fred is like a severe weak link right now in that team. And what happens is somebody of those midfielders get injured. Yeah. Because they're so stacked with wingers who can attack, not midfielders who can attack. It's going to be very tricky, because suddenly you'll have a situation where you have injuries, but then you have Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, Ronaldo, Cavani all available, and I'm not mentioned Bruno Fernandes. So where do you fit that in? Another smart thing they got a good amount, 30 million pounds for Daniel James, which is a great amount, and selling it to their rivals Leeds United. So that's a good piece of business as well. But yeah, midfield is going to be weak.
You know there is a conspiracy on why they sold Daniel James. See, because Cristiano Ronaldo need to get the number 7 jersey, which is now being assigned to Cavani. Now, because the Premier League has started, you can't change the jersey number unless there is a quote-unquote special reason, like Premier League can provide an exemption. Now, Cavani used to wear number 21 jersey for Uruguay. Now, who was wearing 21 jersey for Manchester United? Daniel James.
Oh wow! But it's a very United thing to do for Ronaldo to let go of a player just to allot a number. But I mean, it's not such an unbelievable story.
Yeah, but also on the other hand, they are stacked up pretty much on upfront. I mean, Daniel James may not get a lot of game time, so it also makes sense for him to go to a club where he can at least get some time, where he can get some minutes.
Yeah.
You can say they could have sent him on loan, but yeah, I mean, if you're getting 30 million for Daniel James, it is a good sign. I mean, it's a good sale actually at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a very
Manchester
good
United with these signings, they have again actually established their hold as a top four team, but I still doubt that they are a very serious contender for the title. I mean, they have increased their probabilities slightly higher, but I still think they are not up to the mark of Chelsea or City. City, on the other hand, they went all out on Harry Kane. They went, in fact, this entire window for City was about only two players, Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish went pretty smooth. It was probably one of the smoothest 100 million deals I've ever seen. There was no friction anyway. Like, it just started and ended very smoothly. But the Harry Kane deal actually balanced it. It had all the drama, all the controversies, and in the end, it also didn't happen actually. So City again getting into a season without a proper number nine. Will it work? I have my doubts. I have my doubts this season.
Yeah, and we won't talk about this too much because we've done this in the past. Is like it worked last season, but it might not work for every single tournament this season. Jesus is a great player, but he's not a superstar, and that's what City are now aspiring. If they have Champion League aspirations, they need a number nine. Maybe never know the situation where they are. Say in the January transfer window, they might go for a centre forward, and I think the one we really discussed was Danny Ings. He would have fit perfectly well with a bit part role coming in to score clutch goals. He would have been a good signing. You never know, that might happen in January.
Yeah, I mean, looks like Gabriel Jesus is going to play a winger. The last two games he did that, and he did pretty well. He gave at least 2-3 assists. Ferran Torres scored 2-3 goals. But see, it's against Norwich and Arsenal. Probably the two worst defensive teams in Premier League right now. So you can't take much away from those two games. Now, talking about their other top four challenger, or probably one of the title challengers, Liverpool were very, very silent in the market. They've signed only one player, Ibrahim Konate from RB Leipzig, but other than that, they didn't do much business. In fact, they sold Shaqiri. They sent a couple of other players on loan, but again, pretty dull window. But again, a lot of people are talking about how Matip, Van Dijk, Joel Gomez, they're all like quote unquote like new signings. But I still believe Liverpool should have gone for an attacking player. Maybe they were looking for the right target, they weren't getting it. We have seen this from Klopp before. Unless he gets the player he wants, he doesn't go for a backup signing. He always like waits for the player that he wants. We don't know. There were news that they were looking at Jeremy Doku. There were news that they were looking at Gerard Bowen from West Ham, but it didn't happen. Nothing that happened. So we'll have to wait and see whether Liverpool are actually going to get more goals from the front four. And I myself, I have my doubts. So I don't think they are a title challengers. There's an outside chance, but yeah, Chelsea and Man City for me at this point of time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think just to end our chat about the Premier League, I think the one signing I think everyone missed who would have been a great signing, especially for say United, like we discussed, was Declan Rice.
Yeah.
He would have been a great addition in that midfield. He's bound to get a big transfer one day. Might be in United in January, you never know.
Yeah, other clubs are also actually did pretty well. The Tottenham not letting Kane out itself is a great win for them, and they also signed a couple of good defenders, Brian Hill from Sevilla, and they were able to secure a right back on the day on the transfer deadline day from Barcelona, and they also let go of the deadweight Serge Aurier. So they did pretty well, and they are on top of the table right now. Leicester did pretty good business. West Ham did amazing business, but the one signing that took all the headlines away was Newcastle signing Santiago Munoz, inspired from the Goal movie. So that means, Ishan, like in 2 seasons' time, Real Madrid are going to sign Santiago Munoz.
I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, I mean, and Zidane will come back to play alongside him. But yeah,
And he's from Mexico.
he's from Mexico. It's a proper story. Uh, let's see if he brings Champions League football to Newcastle again. I think that's step one.
Yeah. So, what's your early prediction? I mean, winner, any choice, any preferences? May not be one or two preferences.
You're talking about the transfer winners or league
No,
winners?
I'm laying league winners.
League winners for me, I feel this year is going to be Chelsea. It's actually part of the script. A new manager comes in, wins the European Championship, wins the league, and then gets fired. That's how it works for Chelsea. So this year, I think the biggest testament, the show of strength they had was against Liverpool, going down 10 men and showing the defensive resilience they did was incredible. And I think that proved, I think that really settled it for me about, the depth of squad, and now they can even fight a game where they're down and out. Unbelievable. So for me, it's going to be Chelsea, then City. Obviously, City is going to be up there, then United, and then Liverpool.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I also go with Chelsea because even I thought until the signing of Saul Niguez, I was still like Chelsea City 50-50. But City not signing a centre forward and Chelsea signing Saul Niguez definitely put Chelsea ahead for me. And yeah, United, Liverpool, and maybe Tottenham can challenge, but I don't think they have it in them to go for the entire season. They may be in top four for a while, but they will drop down. Signing of the season, I think I've already mentioned. I believe you think Saul Niguez.
My money is on Saul Niguez as the signing of the season in the Premier League.
I'm still going for Lukaku. Lukaku is still my signing of the season. Let's move on to our La Liga, where Barcelona basically opened up a garage sale. So you're like, please, we have all these players. ले लो जो भी चाहिए, जितना भी चाहिए ले लो, free में ले लो, पैसा भी नहीं चाहिए, just take them away.
You've seen those movies, na? Laporta basically set up a lemonade stall in front of the garage and said, please buy lemonade. I will give you lemonade. You take Griezmann. I will give you lemonade. You take Ajax Moriba. You take anyone you want. Just go for it. And there, if you saw there, when the window closed, that tweet was, "Yay, we registered Sergio Aguero." Please, Sergio Aguero doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the biggest win for Barcelona out of this transfer window. Registering Sergio Aguero and getting Luke de Jong on loan from Sevilla. See, Barcelona had a lot of players out of their wage bill. I mean, that was their priority this season, to get their wage bill reduced to a certain level where they can register players. They were able to take Messi off their wage bill. Now they have taken Griezmann off their wage bill. PK, Sergio Roberto, Busquets, Jordi Alba all have apparently agreed for a reduction in their pay salary. I mean, you still have deadweights like Dembele, who's again injured. There is Coutinho, who's there. But yeah, when it comes to the signings, Eric Garcia still has a long way to go to prove himself. But Memphis Depay has started really well. If I have to find one silver lining amongst all the bad stuff going around, that's probably the only silver lining. Ansu Fati coming back from injury could be pretty good. But yeah,
the new number 10.
Yeah, the new number 10
of Barcelona.
Yeah, and I'm extremely happy like it has gone to him. I deservedly so. The next big thing. There
was a Twitter battle going on about how Barcelona should retire the number 10. And I was completely against it because it's a very American thing in sport. It's not applies to football. Otherwise, they should have retired the number 10 for Maradona, post Maradona.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work. So I'm very happy actually that it went to Ansu Fati. He's probably the most deserving. I hope he's properly recovered from his injury and shows it, because his addition would actually he would probably be the player for Barcelona this season if he's back in full shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's like right now, since the transfer window is done, like everything, The one thing that Barcelona fans have for Barcelona is hope. There is nothing much left out there, so hopefully they are able to get the maximum out of this team and at least finish in top four. I really don't see them challenging for any titles, at least for 1 or 2 seasons. Until they get their finances back, I don't see Barcelona going for any big players or going for any big trophies. But
But
talking,
it's a vicious cycle, Bala. I think just to end this Barcelona, it's a vicious cycle. Once you lose that ambition to get your finances in order, right? Suddenly the star players don't want to come to you once you have got your finances in order. If you look at AC Milan, they had a 4-5 year cycle when they they were broke, and then they started rebuilding. They've reached the Champions League, but they still don't attract that level of talent, say what a Juventus or even an Inter Milan in the Serie A do.
yeah,
So they could be in that phase, but yeah, you never
yeah,
know.
it's an interesting phase. We'll have to see how Barcelona get over this. Hopefully they will, but we'll see how it happens. But talking about their arch rivals Real Madrid, again, they also had a lot of players leaving them. See, this COVID has actually affected a lot of clubs and Barcelona the most. In fact, Barcelona's finances were unstable pre-COVID. COVID actually exposed them pretty badly. But Real Madrid's finances were also actually pretty much exposed, even though they were able to make a slight profit, like a less than £1 million profit, but still their finances were also hit, and that's why they had to let go of players like Sergio Ramos, Rafael Varane. I mean, they had to let go of their first line of defense. But they also bought someone like David Alaba, and the transfer deadline day, probably I would say the best transfer deadline day signing, like proper signing, Saul Niguez was loan, was Eduardo Camavinga, the 18-year-old, 17-year-old, how old is he?
Yeah, 18-year-old.
18-year-old defensive, not defensive midfielder, he's actually a central midfielder, I would say, from Rennes.
He's more like a swashbuckling Jorginho. He's actually a lot like Pogba.
Yeah, he's very good. I didn't see him a lot. Like I saw him in 1 or 2 games in the Champions League last season. He's pretty good. I saw him play for France once or twice. He's really good. I mean, there's still a lot more to come from him. I mean, he's just 18, so there's still a lot more to come from him. He's still not that level, but it'll be interesting to see him battling for places against the likes of Modric or Cruz.
But this is a very smart transfer because this is a direct succession plan by Perez for Modric and Cruz by getting Valverde, renewing Valverde's contract to 2026, and now getting Camavinga in. Your central midfield is pretty much sorted that way. So I think that's smart. Casemiro still has a couple of more years left in him. So I think this is a very, very good signing for Real Madrid.
Yeah, hopefully. Now, see, Real Madrid again, as I said, lost Ramos, Varane, they lost Brahim Diaz. Again, Brahim Diaz wasn't playing anyways. He was out on loan with AC Milan, and that became a permanent transfer. They sent a couple of other players on loan. I think Odriozola was out on loan to Fiorentina, and then there was another player, I don't remember much. He was also out on loan. Yeah, so Mariano was told to go to Rayo Vallecano, but he refused. So I don't know if he's still there or not. Odegaard, obviously, we know. Ceballos is in our squad this season. I don't know how many games he'll get, but yeah. Yeah, Real Madrid actually tried everything to get Mbappe in this season, but it looks like they did that just to send out a message that we are in for you. I wasn't very sure where they're going to get that 220 million, their final bid. PSG clearly said no, we are not selling him anyways.
That was quite a bluff. That was, I think, Perez doing a bluff. He knew he would get rejected, but he just wanted to show that we have 200 million.
Great. So the biggest plus point for Real Madrid this season, I believe, is all their players coming back, like Bale coming back, Hazard coming back from injury. So it depends on how those players actually perform. Isco, after a long absence, has come back to life. So that will be a good thing. Now, talking about their city rivals, who I believe has the best squad by far in La Liga this season, especially with the addition of Griezmann right now. They're just incredibly strong.
See, they were favorites before Griezmann because of how depleted Barcelona and Real Madrid are. But just now with the coming of Griezmann, and to be very honest, he is not a new signing for them. He knows the culture. He knows how to play under Simeone, something that he couldn't adjust to in Barcelona. Because if you have to define his time at Barcelona, it was a pretty abject failure because he is a talent. And now he just needs to go back, get his confidence back because the system, he belongs there. There was never any other option for Griezmann other than Atletico Madrid. And he's 30, meaning I'm surprised. Like, I thought he would be younger, but he's 30. So this is his chance. Like, this will probably be the first time in history Atletico retain a title because they would definitely got the squad for it.
Yeah, they also signed Rodrigo De Paul, Matthias Cunha, and a few other signings. Sevilla made some interesting signings. They signed Rafa Mir. Actually, Atletico was in for Rafa Mir. Rafa Mir came from Wolves, Thomas Delaney from Dortmund, and they swapped Lamela, who actually had a pretty interesting start. So La Liga, we both are going with Atletico favorites.
Yes, unfortunately.
Real Madrid definitely top 4. I think Sevilla also, I think definitely top 4.
The top 3 will remain the same. Whatever happens, I'm telling you, the top 3 will remain the same. It will just keep switching.
But I still believe Valencia can have an impact this season, hopefully, coming back from their miserable time for the last 2 years. Serie A actually had a very interesting season, actually very interesting transfer market. Not just many of their managers changed, but they also signed a lot of players. They had to let go of a lot of players. I mean, we talked about Serie A losing all their best players, best forward, best goalkeeper, best defender, everyone's gone. But still the Milan clubs did excellent business. In fact, especially Inter, yes, in spite of losing some big talent, they also made some smart signings. They signed Denzel Dumfries as a replacement for Hakimi. They signed Joaquin Querria as a replacement of Lukaku. They got Dzeko, they got Çalhanoğlu, both for free. So they did pretty well, and they also started pretty well under Inzaghi. AC Milan, on the other hand, did some really interesting businesses. They got Tomori, Giroud again, who had a very interesting start. Mike Maignan, a replacement for Donnarumma. Brahim Diaz, we just talked about it. So they also did pretty well. Roma,
and Brahim Diaz, who's been scoring for fun at Milan for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, Brahim Diaz has been pretty good. In fact, I remember watching him play against Juventus last season, one of the very important games, and he scored a spectacular goal. Roma under Mourinho have started well, and also signed some interesting players, Tammy, Rui Patricio, and the main part is they were able to let go of a lot of dead weight, like Dzeko left, Pastore left, Pedro left. So we don't know how that's going to turn, but hopefully it works out well for them. But Juventus was a bit of a disappointment. I mean, we all know that they are also pretty financially stuck. They also have a lot of problems financially. So they had to let go of Ronaldo, which eventually they did. But I believe they signed a pretty interesting player in Locatelli, who will provide a very, very important, who will fill a very important hole in the midfield, which they were missing for a very long time. So that's again.
But as I said in the last podcast, your most informed player is Alvaro Morata. I don't need to say anything else.
But you still have Chiesa. So Chiesa is the only hope, I believe. So
who's scoring 30 goals for them this season?
We'll see. What if Dybala suddenly wakes up and produces a great performance? So
yeah, because I can say Morata will miss 30 open goal chances, but I don't think he can score 30 goals. But yeah, just to end our Serie A talk, I think it's a severely depleted Juventus this season. I don't think in recent memory I've actually seen such a weak Juventus squad as a whole, because even if you look at their defense, they're 50 and 75 respectively in age, and now they don't, and their keeper is an ex-Arsenal reject. I still do not believe how Juventus have Chesney as their number one keeper still. It's unbelievable, but that's how it is. And, I worry for them this season, to be very honest. Obviously they're going to be in the top 4 in the Serie A, but I think there are going to be a couple of embarrassing results for them over and above the Empoli result last week.
Yeah, I thought before the beginning of the season, Inter are not going to challenge for the title, but having seen them play the first 2 games and the kind of signings they have made, and the fact that Juve are not looking good, I'm still going for Inter to regain the title.
I agree.
and I have a hope, I have a slight hope that Roma can enter top four again. But I believe the likes of Napoli, Lazio might fall out. But this is going to be a very interesting season in Serie A. This is a pretty balanced season. I don't see a clear favorites actually.
A weak Juventus is good for the Serie A.
Talking about a team that won 8 or 9 league titles back to back and talking about them going weak, well, let's talk about Bayern who continue to deplete the teams around them. Like if not Dortmund, it's Leipzig this time. How could they sign someone like Sabitzer for 16-17 million, man? It's senseless. It makes no
For
sense.
people who
at
do
all.
not know how well or how good a player Sabitzer is, you need to watch a couple of highlights on YouTube about how important he is to the entire operation of RB Leipzig. He makes them tick. He is in the center of everything going on at Leipzig. And who was their manager last season? Julian Nagelsmann, who now is the manager of Bayern Munich. So this is literally amazing, a two player signing for Bayern Munich, because Sabitzer in the center of midfield will run the show for them, and you have a monster and center forward anyway. If you don't have any challengers anyway, I think this is more of a Champions League play for Bayern than a Bundesliga, because Bundesliga is already wrapped up with 2 games done.
They already signed Upamecano from them. Dortmund sold Sancho, we all know that, but they got Daniel Malen, like a typical Dortmund signing, a young player who again will be sold for 50-60 million 1 year or 2 later. Leipzig again had a lot of exits, but then we talked about them signing Jax Moriba as a replacement for Marcel Sabitzer. So again, Bundesliga again looks like a walk in the park for Bayern once again. 10th title. So yeah, I don't see any surprises there in Bundesliga. Liga and transfers, it's about only one team, and that one team we have talked a lot about that team on how well they have done this season. So let's just round off with one line that by how many points they are going to win, or by 32nd game or by 33rd game they will win the league and wrap it up and move on.
I will say, I'll put it another way. If they don't do it by the 32nd game, it's a huge failure. Because with a squad like that, there's literally no competition. Yeah, you have Lyon playing really well in the last couple of games. Marseille as eternal challengers. But what are you going to say with that squad? Just the front three. Now you have secured Mbappe for this season at least. You're going to have Mbappe, Neymar and Messi up front. Jesus Christ. And then you have Icardi and Di Maria waiting in line. Meaning it's just scary. But to be honest, their defense is still weak. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Their defense is pretty weak. Ramos still doesn't have a timeline as to when he can play for PSG because of his knee ligament injury. He's not had a preseason game, nothing. So with Marquinhos playing more as a midfielder in the last couple of seasons, if he has to revert back to defense, how can he adapt? It will be challenging. Kimpembe there, I'm not very confident about Kimpembe's abilities as a central defender. But yeah, if you can score 10 goals, who cares if you concede 2?
See, when I was telling Ishan that we will dedicate this particular section on how India's performance against England in the 4th test at Oval, we're not doing an audio podcast. I mean, if we do a video, like you can see Ishan's expression is just like, shit, God. Like, the same expression he showed like last episode when we were talking about India's batting. I mean, guys, it's the same old situation. India all out for 191 thanks to a 50 from Shardul Thakur. Not Virat Kohli, Shardul Thakur.
And Shardul Thakur has probably made a case of, even if India get thrashed, as to why Ashwin was not picked in a spin-friendly pitch. I still do not understand our selection process. I would have taken Ashwin as a wicket-keeper over Pant, just to get Ashwin in the squad. But let's talk, and I think Bala, I'll leave this to you because it just annoys me. just describe what is going on with India's batting.
They are just falling into the trap of, well, let's be bold, let's be bold, let's be bold. I mean, there's a thin line separates boldness and stupidity. I think they seem to cross that line time and again, time and again, time and again. Look at the way how Pant got out. I mean, that is stupidity. That's not just stepping over the line, that's like way ahead of the line. You are like pretty much in the middle of the stupidity zone. So that's what's happening. They are not applying themselves properly. Again, Ajinkya Rahane again, disappointing game. He again went out. I would say get Ashwin instead of Ajinkya Rahane. Ashwin at least will score some 10 runs and he'll pick up some 3 wickets instead of just standing like a...
Yeah, and just look at the math. Kohli scored a 50, Shardul scored a 50. That's 100 plus runs coming from 2 players, and then we got all out for 191. Now, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that's just shocking, right?
Yeah, this is really irresponsible. I mean, we started off well with the bowling. I mean, as of now, at the end of 15 overs, England are 52 for 2 in reply. I mean, they were actually 6 for 2, and there's a bit of a counter attack from David Malan and Joe Root, so they are playing really well. So the signs are pretty clear. It looks like yet another big first innings lead, unless some inspiring bowling performance either from Umesh Yadav or Shardul Thakur or Bumrah. And that's also, we don't have Shami, one of our biggest bowling mainstays. Shami is gone. Yeah. So I'm not sure how we are going to get a first innings lead with this bowling attack.
Plus you have Root, who's almost going to guaranteed scoring a century.
Yeah, I don't see anything other than disappointment in this game also, but let's hope if we can do something and save face. So last episode we were talking about how India are performing really well in Paralympics. We have won 10 medals so far, and we are up for a few more actually. We have great hope in badminton. In fact, world number 1, Pramod Bhagat, he is actually he actually won his group and he's qualified for the semis. So that's pretty much not a short medal, but at least there is a good chance of winning a medal. And other badminton players, Suhas Yatiraj and Tarun Dhillon, all have made really good progress. And then in canoeing, we have Prachi Yadav who has entered semi-final. So we should at least expect another 2-3 medals from us, and this is going really great. So guys, so we still have another 3 more days for this event to finish. So let's hope that we bring in more medals, and as usual, let's cheer for them. For guys who want to watch this, it's on either DD Sports, or if you get Eurosport, it's on Eurosports also. So please do watch and support our team. Alright guys, that's about it for this episode. In fact, as we are finishing this episode off, England have lost their 3rd wicket. Joe Root is gone. He just got out. Bowled Umesh Yadav. We were just hoping Umesh Yadav to pick up a wicket. So let's see. And by the next episode on Monday, we will cover a bit more of cricket, and let's see if there is any other important event that has happened. So until our next episode, it's bye from Bala.
Bye from Ishan, guys. See you on Monday.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us but also helps new listeners to find our podcast easily. You can also reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.
Absolutely. Whoa.